G'day guys, and welcome back to Stitch Up and a brand new series in Planet Coaster 2. Yes, the game is finally here, and today we begin construction on our new theme park, Historia. So I think you can tell what the theme park is going to be about, and if you know me, you know that I do like my history, absolutely love history, and so this is going to be a little nod to historical things that have happened around the world, based loosely on some historical stuff. And so we'll be getting things going from all sort of parts of time. We might look at Mayan civilizations, ancient Rome. We've got a few different ones that we're going to do there. Yes, Vikings are going to pop up, and in fact, Vikings are going to be what gets us through just the very entrance of the park, although we're not going to go too crazy on the Viking theme. So guys, please jump in, enjoy the upcoming Stitch Up intro, and I'll look forward to seeing you in just a sec. Okay, so Historia. Well, here we go, Planet Coaster 2, and yeah, we can take our time, and we'll have a speed time lapse, I guess. Yeah, a time lapse even. Let's do a time lapse for about 25 minutes, and then we'll go into a live section where I'll show you what I've built so far. So what we're actually doing here, I couldn't work out how to start the park, and this is what happened when I did my last Thames Valley Studios park in my last series in Planet Coaster 1. So what we did is we focused last time on the entryway, and it was the car park area, and I basically needed a point of starting. So here I decided I'd do the sign for Historia because I knew that'd be a bit of a constant, and I also wanted to have a look at the rocks in Planet Coaster 2. And really, I mean, what is amazing with the rocks is the scaling. If you have a look here, the scaling is just ridiculous. You really can scale things up and down really quite well. And so I went through and had a look, and I'm using tropical rocks here because of the dark color, and I'm using some really big scaling, which I kind of don't mind. Some of the scaling gets really quite large, and I'm trying to give myself a little, I'm trying to make it a bit of a focal point for where you would come into the park and take photos. So yeah, you've got this kind of plaza. You walk into the park there, and the idea is you'll see the sign, and there will be a little, well, you would have probably seen it in the thumbnail, but there'll be a historical boat that'll be launched up onto the rocks, and it'll be just before the well, just kind of coming up over the sign. Now, I took some inspiration from, I guess, well, definitely from one of the Louvre's treasures, the winged victory of Samothrace, was it? I think it's Samothrace, but yeah, the winged victory, yeah, it is Samothrace, yeah, in the Louvre, and it's on one of the big staircases in the Louvre. You've got this amazing statue that's kind of like a ancient, well, it's a Hellenistic sculpture that was discovered on the island of Samothrace, and it was it's set on the end of a boat. So I haven't got a statue on the boat, so this is not a copy of that or anything like that, but what I've just sort of done, I want the boat giving that kind of rising up look to it. At the moment, the Historia sign is going to be this kind of well, terracotta red is what I've gone for. I'm adding a staff facility building here just to use a bit of scale, but then I decided to just grab a cleaner, and that'll be the right sort of scale there. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that everything isn't too big or too small, especially with the scaling here. You've got to be a little careful with things like that. But we ended up putting these letters as high as we can get them going. Yeah, just look at those rocks, the way the rocks kind of connect up. It is sort of my speed at the moment here is 3.5 times, but I'm actually off to a really slow start at the game, so I was playing quite slowly because what I did with Planet Coaster 2, and let me know if this is your same journey as well, but it basically is quite a different game from Planet Coaster 1, and there are lots of different things that you need to, I mean, there's lots more functionality, but there are some things that are just different in the the way you play the game. And so doing repetitive tasks here, I've got to create 7 or 8 letters together and be able to put them in and recolor them, and also add the extra step of resizing them and then worrying about spacing. And so here you would use muscle memory, because it's a repetitive building step that you're going to be doing over and over to get all of these letters done. But it is Planet Coaster 2 is just different. I purposely here decided to do some bigger. We've got some. They're all lowercase, but that S is quite big, and I did that on purpose. But I do correct that because there was too much emphasis. I mean, I was going for the Historia part of Historia because I want to tell a story, that sort of thing. But I think it just was getting a bit complex and convoluted, so I put it back down to a better shaped S. And in fact, we fixed the spacing of all this and the orientation. At the moment, I'm just kind of doing this kind of left to right, this angle in a straight line, and then I'll place them. So when you're coming in, the idea is you walk into the park, and there are some recreations of some older buildings there, but there's no, at the moment I haven't put any sort of functional buildings in there. We'll have a little bit look in the free play part of it, but you can see here you basically walk in and take your photo and get your things together and say, right, let's go, and you'll be able to walk off to the left after you come in, get lots of photos, regroup, and then head on into the park and work out where you're going to take your first turn. Now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be starting on the water park's start of the park. We're going to do, it's going to be one big park with 2 sections, a wet section and a dry section. And so the water park section is going to be the first thing that I'll probably work on. Now, I just wanted to mention with the water park that I think the theme that I'm going to go with is sort of Roman baths. So I think I'm going to try and use a lot of colored marble. I'm thinking like grey and black marble with some red through it. Maybe some I can't remember the name of the red marble. There was red marble that Napoleon's bath was made out of. It's in Vatican City, but I've got some lovely marble that I've been looking at, and we'll be doing some baths. So Roma bath style. So that'll be the way that kind of the water park is centered around kind of the Romanesque. That'll be kind of like that. Now, the middle of the park, I plan to have a Mayan temple, a pyramid, a Mayan pyramid in the middle. That'll be kind of the Woody of the park, the Disney, castle that'll sit relatively, well, not quite in the middle, but when you walk in, you'll see it in the background. It'll be something that you'll be able to see throughout the park. As you look back into it, you'll see this four-sided Mayan pyramid, and it's going to have some steps going up it. Now, from the when you first see that, you will see it directly as you approach from the left-hand side, which is where you'll come through the park, and you might sort of go straight ahead to get to that, and that will get you into the rest of the theme park, and then you might go left and you'll get into the Roman baths, and then that'll kind of expand and open up, and the Roman baths will be segregated quite a bit with the rest of the park, because I want to make sure that we have a lovely sort of a difference between the dry theme park and then the wetness of the roller coaster, because people don't go, you don't want people in bathers going on the roller coasters. The parks are always quite separate, and when you have a water park and a theme park next to each other, it's always important to remember that they really generally are 2 separate parks. Here I'm going to be joining them together, but I want people to spend time in one or the other and then go to the other one after they've done that. So that'll be kind of how the sort of the demarcation of that. My Mayan pyramid, what I plan to do is have it fairly tidy from the start. And have it fairly sort of the front facing parts that you first see, they'll be kind of just not no structures coming off them. But what I'm thinking is having some water slides coming off the back of it, but they'll be hidden, so they'll only be visible from the water park side of it, not the part when you first see it. Just tilting the boat here, and then just trying to see if we can get the boat going in. changing the color of the sails as well to give it like just a darker look as well, and then using some rocks. So the way the structure here is that I go ahead and put that in, make some changes to the color, and then once I've done that, I can then go back, and once you're happy with where things are, you can then go back and then change a lot of the rocks just so that they then come up slightly just to support it. So the boat is resting on, I think, the S of Historia, but then there's got some rocks there as well, and you can see I'll put some rocks at the back, but again, this will all be changed. We will soften this area very shortly with some trees as well. So I've gone for some North American trees to give it a, it has a Viking feel to it with the boat. So we are nodding at the Vikingness, but just remembering this is not a Viking build completely, because this is just like a historical entrance to the park. And so I won't give people an idea of looking back. But yeah, I do like the idea of the rocks and the way they sort of form up and go like that. You can see at the moment the rocks actually come right up against the path, and I kind of go to great efforts to do this. But what we end up doing with the rocks is just moving everything back about a meter, or maybe just about half a meter in scaleness, away from that kind of path, and then we'll go ahead and put a wooden sort of bamboo-y, stakey kind of fence, and then kind of Lost World kind of fence, and then we'll put some trees in around, and some cactus in the front as well, which will go with the rocks. Change the color of the earth as well, which would be quite nice. That'll be good. Here's me just picking out some trees and also playing with the scaling, because the scaling is ridiculous. Of course, when we do the trees, we would have 2 or 3 different types of each tree species, but then and some of them would be juvenile, some would be adults, and you can drop them into the ground to play around with the heightness as well. But now you can also do the scaling as well. You've got to remember, when you scale the trees, they get bigger in mass, so not just vertically, but the leaves will get bigger as well, so everything's just getting a bit sort of, so you got to be a little careful not to overscale some trees versus other ones, because you've got to make sure that you're still creating, it's the same type of tree, it's just a bigger version of the tree. The leaves should be the same size. So I'll be careful. I knew with scaling as well, for me it's like I'll just want to blow everything up and make it big, but you've got to remember, we want this to be when you're walking through, you want to see the detail, and it's those details that will sort of, if you don't get that correct, that'll set you off in the wrong direction if you overscale things. Even though this is completely sandbox, here's me moving some trees out the way because I don't want to waste them. But mainly so, I just, the trees are tied in with the Taiga map, and I guess that's a Japanese kind of sort of type map with some big hills and things. And I think with those, I want to be able to keep those trees for inspiration of what works with the map. So I'm just kind of keeping a few of them. I do like there that you've got the big clump of rocks, and then here a nice little break and some grass in between, and some trees that have grown in between. I like that. It gives the idea that trees have grown in between these 2 clumps of rocks, so little gaps in there are working nice. And now we can start to soften the whole scene with some trees, and also give it some scale, because those rocks are quite big. But just if you can soften with some trees, and also just kind of, if you notice that the trees, given that their height, they'll help to just give the whole thing a little bit of a grander scale as well, so the whole thing looks a little bit bigger than it probably actually is, because these trees are kind of not as big as they probably could be. I hope that makes sense. So other things that we'll be doing in Historia will be, I had lots of ideas. Definitely the Roman baths for the kind of wet part of the park, including a Roman forum. I had an idea that I'd like to do a Roman forum, and whether or not I put some of the pools up in some of the temples. I don't mind the idea of temples that are kind of overhanging and sitting up perched over other sections. I like that. I think that could be nice. I think we'll do some pools that are up here, down there, and you go up some stairs and you go back down, and there might be a diving pool here. So we'll definitely be going and doing that. Hanging Gardens of Babylon will appear somewhere. I like the idea of Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Well, this is not going to be all of the well, definitely not all the great wonders of the world, but the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus is another big structure that might be able to give some interest if we can put that in there somewhere. I want to do some walls around the city, around the map too, and so I've got a couple of options for walls. If you have a look at as we come in to the park, as you go left to get round to where we're going now, and this is where I'm building at the moment. But if you were to go right, there is a big mountain there, and this map is kind of edging off raised mountains, so it's great because you can actually, which means we can really play into the mountain here and build up. It's not a flat map at all. It's actually built into the side. You can see here there's some mountains, but on the other side especially it really does go up. So what I was thinking is maybe doing the Great Wall of China and putting that somewhere. There could be some slides that go down the Great Wall of China that are hidden on the wall structure. That could work quite well. I'm kind of keen to make the theme park side of things work out really sensibly as well, so that could be quite nice. So Great Wall of China could be good. Obviously I went to Istanbul, and we had Istanbul was called Constantinople, and the old walls of Constantinople, one of the most fortified cities in the world, certainly some of the best wall defenses for any city in antiquity were and some of them are still standing. Quite a few of the walls are still standing. They are quite amazing because they're built over 3 or 4 different kind of levels. There are moats, there are levels to the walls, and then they extend for kilometers around this peninsular city, and they work quite well. And with those walls, they're also quite distinctive in the way that the colors of them. So the walls of Istanbul or Constantinople were kind of like a sandy brick, small bricks, and then so it was stone underneath and then a brick facade on the outside of the walls. Here's me playing with the levels and the working height function. I find the working height function to be interesting, but I'm trying to get so back to the rocks. And we've got some very scaled up rocks here, and I'm trying to block out the ramp on the left hand side and create a little bit of a I kind of want this nice, it's not a tunnel that you're walking through, but I like the idea that you get in, you take your photo in front of the Historia sort of sign, and you can see some things in the background, and you can't wait to go and see the temple. The Mayan parts of the temple, and you're excited about different parts of the park, and you can see little snippets here. So then you'll be able to go through this kind of winding path up to the next area, and it's the next area that will have some guest services. We definitely have some lovely guest services, and so you'll be able to buy sunscreen and hats and passes for the water park and all that sort of stuff. You'll be able to go to the toilets and do things like that. And here's me also just trying to work out what to do with these fences. Now what I end up doing here, because these fences are all, I believe, 4 meters, and I've got roughly 4 of them, but they didn't quite work out. But then if I actually put them like that and kept the spacing in between so they're not connected, you can hardly see that without looking really close at it. But what it does is it now forms the length of one of the sides of the hexagon. And in this area, I used just that hexagon. So here it is with just I don't know why it was doing that, but I turn angle snap on here, and I look for 45 degrees, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure I can just slide through the scaling section, and then I can just move these guys up and keep. But basically, what I'm trying to do here is look for that blue line and trying to work out where I need to place them according to where the blue line is, so that they're all about the same distance from the edge of the path. You've got this kind of concrete edging around the path. That was the part that I didn't like. And one thing I do find a bit difficult with this is if you go back and try and recolor your paths, in Planet Coaster 2 it seems a bit more like it's more likely to alter your paths as opposed to as opposed to sort of just being able to stamp the same colors over them. And I think the reason for that is there are so many different options of how to build paths. You got your stamping, you got your line tool, your classic builder, and then there are all the levels, and the pathing functionality is amazing. There's so much more to it, but yeah, it's going to just take a little bit different, a little bit of time to wait to get that kind of muscle memory sort of back to it. So, what do you think of Planet Coaster 2 so far? I'm quite impressed. There has been a little bit of not controversy, but there are definitely some valid opinions out there that where it's there's some of the launch hasn't gone as well as it could. There are some things in there that you sort of puzzled as to why they did it, but then in the grand scheme of things like 6,000 people guest limits, I mean, I don't understand why people are having a fit over that. One thing I've turned the park off as well. We're playing in Sandbox, and I don't want guests to come in just yet. And but one thing is that I just noticed is as soon as you start a game, and even before you place any rides down, thousands of people just try and crawl into your park. So I think that's not super helpful. You don't need that. There are more options here of placing things. So when you're placing plants down, I noticed that I have turned on stick to surface and align to surface. I think I've got them off at the moment, but I do play around with those settings here because just trying to get them to stick on and align on nicely, and then easily place up and down, and also use the Z key to rotate, either by snapping or holding, or angle snapping and then not angle snapping. I haven't used the scenery brush at the moment, because I just want to place these manually. There's so much. See, these guys are placed in the air, so yeah, I work out how to use the align to surface a little bit better. But again, the amount of functionality that's in here is the reason that we have issues. I think that's the reason we have things complicating ourselves. So yeah, that's all quite good. I don't think there's the thing with Planet Coaster 2 is there were so many DLCs in Planet Coaster 1 that made the game so good, and it's a little bit of a shame that we've lost things like the Studios pack and the Adventure pack. Excuse me, just getting over a cold. I've just gone away from the microphone there just to have a little cough. But yeah, the Adventure pack, the Studio pack, and these things just gave us so much. And so there is more functionality in this. Like, one thing that is a game changer, literally a game changer, but one thing that's just amazing is the fact that you'd be able to add in props that can move. Now that is going to be amazing, because it's any piece of scenery that is applicable, not buildings, but pieces of scenery that can go in, and you can add them in to these little things, and they'll move them up or down, or slide them in, or those little things that you can trigger into rides are going to be just phenomenal. I just think this game has so much, but the downside is we kind of reset, and we have to allow Frontier to do their DLC thing. This is how they can afford to make such a brilliant game. But they're going to want to sell us DLCs, and yeah, we're all going to buy them, and it's going to be amazing. But and every DLC that we got in Planet Coaster 1 was worth every penny, in my opinion. Absolutely every penny. I was mortified when they moved from bringing out any more DLC in Planet Coaster to only doing it in Planet Zoo, because I didn't want to play Planet Zoo. Nothing against it, but it's just not my cup of tea, and I love zoos, but I just don't play it. But yeah, okay, so what we're doing here is just around this lake on the right hand side. By the way, look at the water in Planet Coaster 2, ridiculous. But what we're trying to do here is just soften the soften that area, and basically have a historical house here. Now I will and I do use a Viking house for that. I will actually put something in the entrance, but I haven't decided what to do right at the entrance gates. I haven't decided what to do there. But here I wanted to kind of get a nice sharp drop off for where the water goes down into, so the water should sort of, you know, come out and sort of drop straight in. So yeah, I just kind of go back and forwards here a little bit with the water and just make sure that that can happen. I'm actually dropping the house into the soil a little bit too much there, so I go back and change things. But we're about to jump into the free play section where we'll have a nice little look around. We'll have a little talk about some of the things we're going to do in real time, and take you through a little walkthrough so you can see some of the details of what we've done in the first episode of Planet Coaster 2 in Historia. So I will see you in a moment in the free play section. Okay, so the free play section of the video, and you can see here how we're looking. I've got the Planet Coaster music on in the background for a bit of a change of pace here as well. Yeah, you can kind of see what's happening with the letters. Yeah, I don't mind. I think I'm okay. I'm not overly sold on the colour, but then I like the idea of the red. It evokes some idea of blood and things like that. So I think that's kind of cool. But we'll see about that. This is not finished, the planting. I need to fix up the planting, so that'll all be taken care of. And I can have a look around here. You've got the lovely water. Now, if we come across here with the buses, I don't like how the buses are. I mean, in Planet Coaster 1, we had a just an entrance coming outside of a hill, which didn't kind of work. And over here, we've got this. One thing I thought they could do in Planet Coaster 2 is, and maybe they will with DLC, but with the functionality, is to really focus on car parks and entrances, because you can even have these massive car parks where people come in and simulate driving in their own cars and park their own cars as well. You could have it done so that as long as you use the correct sort of parking lanes and the correct sort of lanes, you could actually have traffic coming in. And then you could even use people moving vehicles to move people then to the parks like they do at Disneyland in Anaheim. And that's just one thing I thought they could do with Planet Coaster 2 that I think a lot of people would love, because a lot of people do their car parks. Look here, the buses are there, and I need to make this look more like a car park, so the buses will come around the road, they'll come around this lake, blah, blah, they'll come here, they'll be able to turn around and then go back. So I need to be able to fix that part of the entrance up. And then also this part where they come in and scan in their tickets, that's something that we'll need to do as well. You can build inside and outside of that, which is quite cool. So yeah, that is good. I have to say one thing I really love, and it came to me late, was this rock in this direction is, well, the rock is in a similar direction as that is, but I do like the rock leaning out like that. I think it kind of is nice. It's like it's tumbled down from the mountain and just kind of rested up there. The interplay between the sort of the rock painting of the soil and the rocks at the moment think needs a bit of work, and that's the sort of stuff, if you've got this big rock over here, that's the sort of stuff that you can really kind of nestle it when you put in planting and things like that. So this will all be filled out a lot more when you next see it, but yeah, we'll be filling all that out. But the idea is that, you know, you're coming in here at ground level, and I know we can do, there's a particular camera view where we can come in at ground level and walk around. But if you come here, you're taking your photos there. And you will be able to see, just here, you'll be able to see that the Mayan temple should be coming up. And maybe some water slides from that should be coming up as well. The original plan when coming into this symmetrical shape, so the original plan when coming in here is you turn left to go to one section of the park and you turn right to go to another. At the moment, during phase 1 of the park, this is closed off and is not open, and doesn't look like it, but it kind of looks like it could be open in the future. So I don't mind that. I mean, that's why we've kept it like this. It's a nod to, but you'd need then a bridge, or you could have like, you could completely re-terrain the area. Here's where I was thinking about doing my, so if you have a look there, the mountain goes all the way up like that. So I was thinking across this section, if you have a look there, you can see there's the border. So I was thinking over here could be the Great Wall of China that will come up the mountain section across there. We could do that so it comes up, and the Great Wall of China could come up over there. So as you're walking up, you'd see that kind of go, you know, you'd sort of see it come down here like this, a Great Wall of China here, and then all the way up across there. I think that could be a nice historical one to do. Again, it's a theme park, so we want to tie in lots of, you know, functionality. So maybe slides that are sliding down sections of it, but not visible to the main part of the park. That's one section the one thing we could do with the Great Wall of China. Although I do like how you've got this. If you look at the corner of the park, it's right up there. That's right up in the mountains. So you're already up at this. Look at this lovely height. So I think that's really cool. This piece of land is great in that it sort of, if you have a look here as well, it butts right out onto there. So I think we can't really do much with the land over here. I think we can only do what we can just there. But it's a shame they didn't do it out here, because then you could have boats that come up to the back of it. And in fact, I would use this piece of this. I would use the ferries at the back. If I was able to do that, and I would have the ferries come in to this section. But it's interesting because that's where you've got the front of the park there. So for the moment, this is the front of the park. I think, yeah, you know, and here's where you walk up. I tried to get this. If you have a look at it, ooh, yep. If you have a look here, I think if you put people in, you can grab one of the people, but you have a look, and then it levels off up here. So a bit of clipping there of the terrain. I mean, the rocks and the terrain look good together there. But yeah, you'll come up to here, and then we've got some more water over here. So we're just kind of getting water at different levels. Once you get up to here, this is going to be redeveloped, and we'll work out what's happening. But I like the idea that you're coming up and you're still blocked a little bit by this, but you're able to see some stuff up ahead. And that's where you might be able to see the Mayan temple could be over there. I do like the idea of the Mayan temple is, if you look at it from the park level, it's kind of quite tall, but there's lots of rainforest around it, and it gives me an Indiana Jones vibe when it does that. Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull had this kind of Mayan temple, but a very, very tall, rising out of the rainforest, and almost like the bottom part of it was completely taken over by the rainforest, and it was just on its, you know, kind of trying to swallow this amazing temple, which is what happened. Yeah, in real life. So yeah, I will. I think I'll leave the episode here. I definitely need to have a little look at the sound settings, and for a new game, the sound settings are annoying me a little bit, because what I did here with the sound is I just went to this, but the soundtrack volume should still be there. Oh, sorry. We go settings. Yeah, bring just the volume up to 65. Apply and close. A little bit of red wine there just to get rid of that cough. Okay, so yes, I'm going to leave the episode here. This is part 1 of Historia. Part 2, we're definitely going to get into the water park, I believe. I just need to work out how to do this. And maybe it will be the Mayan temple as well. I'm going to do some testing of symmetrical builds, especially of pyramids. So I think the Mayan sort of, I keep saying temple, but I guess it's more of a pyramid. That'll be the thing that we'll probably start working on, and that'll set us off for then moving into our ancient Roman forum. I like the idea as well of doing the forum. If you have a look here, you know, you've got this kind of like, you walk in and you'll have like all these pools around the main entrance area. They'll all be overlooking the plaza. People will be able to get a lazy river around, but I also like then that to have a Colosseum as well could be really nice, and I think the idea of the Colosseum sort of right up next to the Roman Forum could be really good, and we can see what we want to do in the Colosseum. I mean, maybe a river rapids that goes around part of the Colosseum. That could kind of work. I like that. That ties in with the theme park nature as well as the water park nature as well. Okay, I'm going to leave the episode here. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Stitch Up, and let me know what you thought of episode 1, what you think of Planet Coaster 2, the game anyway. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Historia. Cheers.